Welcome back, YouTube. Sensei Domino here. Welcome to the Spine Ticks After Party. Got some great stuff to share with you tonight. I have some friend mail, some eBay pickups, and I'll also be showing a new starter set, 1984 Topps Baseball. But let's go ahead and get started. Let's start with the friend mail. So first, got this package from 23 Munch. He is the mayor of Spine Ticks Saturday Night. And this was actually won by God is Great, Titus, and he gifted it to me, and was really excited when he told me that he had gifted this to me, because I think this artwork is absolutely incredible. Munch is such an amazing artist. This is of Ghost Rider. Look at that. Just an absolutely amazing piece. Titus, I can't thank you enough. This is incredible, and Munch, man, you are an absolutely amazing artist. This is really cool. And on the back, you wrote, Tony, congrats, you got prize tagged by Ken, God is Great. 23 Munch. Yeah, thank you so much, Munch and Titus. Just an absolutely amazing piece, and can't wait to get this framed up. So cool. All right, next, I got a really nice care package from Chance with the Collectibles. If you haven't checked out Chance's channel, definitely go check it out. Amazing content, and just an amazing person. And he told me that he was going to be sending me a couple cards that he pulled out for me. As most of you know, I don't buy a whole lot of new stuff. And so he was saving a couple cards of, you know, Mavericks and Rangers and Cowboys that he knew I didn't have. And he ended up including quite a few extras, just a giant stack of extras of, you know, some Hall of Fame players and some other rookies that he thought I would enjoy. And I was just absolutely floored with his generosity. There's some great cards in here. And so I actually just had the top loaders come in earlier today. So I'm going to be top loading all of these after the video. But let me go ahead and get started. So we have a Prism rookie card of Luke Schoonmaker. Let me see what year this is. I guess this is last year. Yeah, 2023. Next, not sure what parallel this is. I'm just going to call it green because I don't know what it actually is. But, of course, I'm a huge Luka fan, huge Dallas Maverick fan. So, got this really cool refractive finish green Luka Doncic. Looks like 23-24. This might be my first 23-24 basketball card. Actually, there are a couple of them in here. And I'm really high on this rookie. This guy has a lot of potential. And was really happy that the Mavericks drafted this guy. This might be my first Monopoly card. We have Derek Lively II rookie card. And yeah, he's, you know, kind of a Tyson Chandler sort of starter kit type player. Has a lot of the abilities that Tyson Chandler had on that 2011 Maverick Championship team. So really excited that they have Derek Lively on this squad. And next, I don't have a whole lot of Pokemon outside of the Trick or Trade that I picked up, I guess, 2 years ago, and this year, I guess last year. I believe there was 1 year in between that I didn't pick up any. So I don't have a lot of Pokemon. But he sent me this, I guess, Fat Pikachu. I'm not sure what this is, but this is pretty cool. We got this Pikachu card, and this looks like it's 2021. It's got, I guess this is a holo, but I'm not really sure. Looks like a full art holo, maybe. But really cool to have a trick or trade Pikachu in the collection, since he's basically the star of the Pokemon, I guess. All right, next, really excited to get these. I'm a big fan of both of these players. Of course, both of them were stars on the Texas Rangers championship team. And so we'll start with a Josh Young rookie from Topps. I guess this is last year's Topps. And then we also have this year's rookie, Evan Carter, who definitely stood out in the playoffs last year. And this is his rookie card. And I love the design of this year's Topps. It reminds me a lot of 1986. And so, big fan of this design, and really happy to have this Evan Carter rookie. I'm not sure if I have an Evan Carter rookie or not. I might have bought a couple, but I definitely don't have many, so really happy to get that. All right, next, this is another 23-24, but this is regular Prism basketball. And again, we have another Derek Lively II. Great image right there. And last, this very well might have been my favorite rookie last year. I mean, football rookie. I was a big fan of C.J. Stroud, but I had this guy on my fantasy team, so I was pulling for this guy more than C.J. Stroud, I guess. But a big fan of this guy. I think he's got a bright future in the NFL. And it's Puka Nacua. And he definitely came out of nowhere. I think I picked him up off of waivers in like the second week of the season or something after he, I believe him and his teammate, I don't even remember which one it was. It wasn't Cooper Kupp, but there was another Rams receiver, and both of them kind of had like 100-yard games or something. And I decided to go with the rookie Puka because I didn't know if the other guy would be able to sustain the production, and I didn't know enough about Puka to know whether he was going to be a breakout star or not. So I ended up just going with Puka anyway, and man, he definitely was a key asset on my fantasy team this year. Although I didn't win a championship or anything, I did get to the Super Bowl in one of my leagues with I had two teams and both of them had Puka. So yeah, he definitely helped that team out. So really excited to have a Puka Nacua rookie card. I did not have one, and I hadn't purchased one. So thank you again, Chance, for that really cool card. I'm definitely happy to add that one to the collection. All right, so next, this is, I mean, I guess a lot of these guys are, I think most of them are Hall of Famers. Oh yeah, up until the end, there's some rookies, but most of these are Hall of Famers from probably, you know, the 30s era through probably the 90s, maybe early 2000s in some cases. But definitely a big fan of these players. Some of them are absolute legends of the game. And so really cool to have some of these newer cards of these players. But we'll go ahead and start with Ted Williams, the Splendid Splinter. This is the 1988 Topps design. This is 2023. Man, I feel old that 1988 Topps was 35 years ago. Oh man, that makes me feel old. But yeah, this was definitely a great all-star design that year. We also have the Rickey Henderson. This is actually the 1982 stolen base leaders. And it shows Ricky Henderson led the league with, which is the MLB record, 130 stolen bases, and second had 54. So he just obliterated second place. That's kind of cool. And I guess this one right here, this Ted Williams, is the 1941 on base percentage leaders. And yeah, I guess I should be showing these because these are pretty impressive. So Ted Williams this year had a 551 on base percentage. And Roy Cullenbine of the Browns was second with 452, almost 100 points less than Ted Williams. So, wow. Next, we have Hank Aaron. Some would say still the all-time home run leader. Right here, we got the 1966 NL home run leaders. Got Hank Aaron with 44, and then Dick Allen with 40. Willie Mays with 37. And next we have the great Jackie Robinson. This is an awesome image right here. Here we have the 1949 NL leaders. Jackie Robinson led the league in batting average with 342. Stan Musial was second with 338. Enos Slaughter, 336. Next we have definitely one of my favorite players growing up, the kid, Ken Griffey Jr. Definitely fun to watch. We got the 1997 AL home run leaders. Ken Griffey Jr. with 56. Tino Martinez was second with 44. Juan Gonzalez, 42. Yeah, he was definitely a charismatic kid, always played with a smile on his face, and he was basically one of those five-tool guys. And really, really fun to watch in center field, just climbing fences and making amazing catches on top of being just an incredible hitter and arguably the sweetest swing in the history of baseball. Yeah, great card. Next we have the Iron Horse, Lou Gehrig. Right here we got the 1931 AL leaders, RBIs. Lou Gehrig with 184. I mean, that just seems absurd these days. And Babe Ruth was second with 163. Earl Averill, 143. That's crazy. Two players from the same team with 184, 163. Man. Very cool. And I absolutely love this image right here of Ted Williams on the Stadium Club. I guess I don't know if this is this year's or last year's. This is actually 2022 Stadium Club, but yeah, just an amazing image. And I love how this has all of his major league stats, complete stats. That's really cool. But next, now this is kind of cool. This is a double-sided card. And of course we got the great Roberto Clemente. And on the back, we have Andrew McCutchen. And I guess this is 2023. Yeah. Definitely a huge Roberto Clemente fan. I have very few cards of his because, for the most part, they're pricey. I think I have a badly off-center 1969. And I think I have his in action in 72, and then maybe a highlight or two card of his, but would definitely like to get some more playing days cards of Roberto Clemente. into the collection because he was just an amazing, amazing person, amazing, amazing ball player, and arguably had the greatest cannon in right field of anybody in history. Man, he just threw that ball on a rope. So yeah, amazing card here. Next, we have this really, really nice Reggie Jackson. Looks like early in his playing days for the Oakland A's. And I would guess this is some sort of like chrome refractor or something. Maybe a silver or something. But just a great image on the 1953 Topps design, which is probably my favorite design of any card in the 1950s. I just love the 53 design, especially with the artwork that they had on the cards. This one, it looks like they used a real photo, but still just a fantastic design. And so love this card. And yeah, I guess it is a refractor, so very cool. And next we have another great card of Lou Gehrig. And I'm guessing that this is a refractor as well, but I'm not sure what kind of refractor, but it's kind of got a prism look to it. A great image. And it doesn't actually say refractor on the back, so I'm not sure what this is, but definitely a cool card. And Lou Gehrig is a guy that I'll probably never have a card from his playing days, except, you know, I guess the 34 Gaudy. They have the Lou Gehrig says on the bottom. So, I mean, I guess I could buy one of those that's not Lou Gehrig and say that, you know, since it says Lou Gehrig says, I have a Lou Gehrig card. And I might do that just to do it. But, I mean, I guess technically that's not a Lou Gehrig card. But still, those 33 and 34 Gaudis are great cards. So I might end up doing that. Just to have a playing days Gehrig type card. All right, next, we have several of these Grand Gamers, I think, except the last one. These are 2024, so these just came out. And all great names. I believe they're all Hall of Famers. So we got Cal Ripken Jr. Of course, he has the record for most consecutive games played. I remember watching that on ESPN when he broke the record. And then I remember when he actually sat himself down. What was it, like 501 games after he had broken the record or something. I think he ended up with like 26-32. And the record was 21-31. Or 21-30. I guess he broke the record at 21-31. So, yeah. Yeah, amazing player. Speaking of amazing players, this guy is either the best player ever to play or number 2. In my opinion, depending on where you rank Babe Ruth, and I kind of look at it as like 1 and 1A. But yeah, huge Willie Mays fan, and he's probably, in fact, he's the greatest living ball player today. Next, we have Jackie Robinson. Fantastic image right there. This is a cool little subset, or insert set, I guess. And I love this because, you know, this gives, younger collectors an opportunity to learn about these legends of the game and legendary players that they might not otherwise know about. And you didn't see this a whole lot, with the collectors that started collecting in the 70s or 80s. Occasionally, you'd have a subset or something like that, where they would show something about some historical players. But for the most part, you didn't see a whole lot of it. So I do love that they're including a lot of these legends of the game and products these days. We have Roberto Clemente. I just watched a really good documentary on Clemente on PBS. It was like The American Experience. I think it was like an hour long. And it was really cool to learn a few things that I didn't know about Clemente. In fact, one thing that I did learn is that originally he signed with the Dodgers, and I believe it was Brooklyn still. And I think he signed for like a $10,000 signing bonus or something like that. But eventually he was drafted by Pittsburgh and played his entire career in Pittsburgh. But I had no idea that he was originally signed by Brooklyn or the Dodgers. I guess it was Brooklyn. I'm pretty sure it was. So, yeah, in fact, I know it was Brooklyn. Next we have Tom Seaver. Tom Terrific. Affectionately called Boy Scout. I can't say that I've ever heard of him being called Boy Scout. I do know him as Tom Terrific, but I don't know about Boy Scout. But that's pretty funny, actually. And I guess the last one from these Grand Gamers, we have Ken Griffey Jr., and this must have been early in his career. You can tell by the logo with the S. This was probably either first, second, maybe third year. And then after that, they changed the logo, I think. It's a great image there. And lastly, we have another Roberto Clemente. And as I've said before, I love batting cage shots, so this is an amazing image right here. Got like an early batting glove right there. Very cool. Career, he's actually second all time with 255 assists in right field. Just an absolute cannon. Move these away. Show this last group. These are, I believe, all stars of the MLB. And it looks like they're all rookies as well. Definitely some great up-and-comers. These are 2023. We have Corbin Carroll, the Rookie of the Year in the National League last year. I'm sure a lot of you have already seen these cards, but you know, I've never seen these in person, so just kind of getting my first real glimpse at these. Next we have Francisco Alvarez. Pretty nice catcher. He's got a lot of power, but man, he's got a pretty rough batting average. Hopefully brings that up in the future. But definitely has some pop. Next we have Josh Young. Definitely like this guy's potential. Baseball America says he was the best hitter for average in the Rangers organization for 3 straight seasons. So, gotta love that. Rangers had several years where the best players on the team were in like the mid 200s, like 250, 260, 240, and those were rough teams to watch. Lots of strikeouts. Next we have Tristan Casas. Next we have Gabriel Moreno. Next we have Michael Harris II, and he was the National League Rookie of the Year in 2022. Personally, I thought it should have been Spencer Strider, his teammate, but he definitely had a good season, but Strider might be my favorite young pitcher in all of baseball. Just an electric arm, high strikeouts, and really looking forward to seeing his career play out. But Michael Harris is definitely a nice player. Call him Money Mike. Starting to wonder if they make these nicknames up. I've never heard of anybody calling him Money Mike. Next, big fan of this guy, Masataka Yoshida. I'm looking forward to seeing what this year will bring for this guy. Over 7 seasons in the MPB, drew 421 free passes versus only 300 whiffs. So walks more than he strikes out. You don't see that very often these days. Next we have Oscar Gonzalez. Right field prototype. Next we have Anthony Volpe. Yeah, I know these are sort of a thing now, but I remember when I first saw these, I was like, man, come on. You know, jam fingers are part of the game. You don't see basketball players having these mitts on while they're playing, you know? And they probably jam their fingers more than baseball players do sliding into bases head first. But, yeah, I mean, I don't know. Seems kind of overkill to me. But I'm sure people way smarter than me have a reason for recommending these to ball players. So. And last we have the American League Rookie of the Year, Gunnar Henderson. Really nice player. Looking forward to seeing that Orioles team because they have a lot of young talent on this squad. I know I just heard the other day that Jackson Holliday was actually sent down to the minors to start the season, but I fully expect that we'll see him, you know, probably by the end of May, if not early May. And so, yeah, they've just got a lot of talent. Adley Rushman and Gunnar, and yeah, just a great young squad. And so they should be a threat to all the teams in the American League for years to come. But yeah, that's the fantastic care package from Chance with the Collectibles. Thank you again, Chance, for these amazing cards. Absolutely love them. And we'll definitely be getting all of these top loaded after the video. Just thank you again. Just incredibly generous care package that you sent. And yeah, so many great rookies, so many great Hall of Famers. And yeah, again, I can't thank you enough. Thank you so much. All right, so next, I mentioned last week that I had, I think it was like 11 or 12 eBay orders that I had ordered, and it seemed like all of them were like moving my way super slowly. Some of them, they took a while to actually dispatch them in the mail. And so I was pretty frustrated last week that I had to actually buy a blaster just to feel like I had enough content for my video. But fortunately, all of it that I was expecting has arrived now. I got the stamp set that I was waiting for. I got the autograph lot from the Autograph Den. That probably took like 3 weeks to get to me. But it did finally arrive, and it arrived in great shape. And the Autograph Den actually gave me a full refund for my troubles. So essentially, I got those for free. I'm actually going to save those for next week because I think I've bought more singles than, you know, like card content, I guess, or sets or mini sets, or, you know, I usually have something like that to show. So I'm kind of going to save those autographs until next week, just to make sure that I have enough content for the video next week. But I did pick up several singles that I'll be showing this week along with the stamp set. So hopefully you enjoy these. Let's go ahead and get started. First, this card is in really nice shape for its age. There are a couple dings on the bottom, but the top corners are pretty sharp, and I'm a big fan of this guy. I guess you could say I'm kind of hoping to finish a player run, a Topps player run of his, because, I mean, essentially the guy's a common, but he was an incredible player. I think he was like a 9 or 11-time All-Star or something. But it's Sherm Lawler. And definitely one of the greatest defensive catchers of his era. And definitely had some pop. I think he finished with just like 180 home runs or something like that. He had quite a few home runs, just under 200. So he definitely had pop for the catcher position. But yeah, he was mostly known as a defensive catcher, and a big fan of his. And this is actually my first 1954 Topps card. For whatever reason, I'm not a fan of the top part of the card. Now, this is actually how they came. The border was only along 3 sides, and the top, they just let the color go off the top. And I guess just, I don't know, my brain has gotten used to, a 4, edge border. And I kind of feel like this almost feels like it's like miscut, although it isn't. And so, although I do love, otherwise I love the design of these cards, this edge has always bugged me. So I kind of overlooked this set more than I really should. But it is a fantastic set. It is a fantastic design. I'm just a little not a fan of this decision, but still a really cool card to get and a fantastic player. And I am happy to have my first 1954 Topps card. I just kind of got to get over this edge and realize that this was intentional and these aren't miscut in any way. But yeah, it is a pretty cool design otherwise. And I like the White Sox logo that they used back then. That's pretty cool. All right, next I have a couple cards that I picked up. I think this was one lot by itself, if I remember right. No, actually, these were purchased from the same individual, but they were different lots that I won. But both of these are from 1960 Topps, and 1960 Topps is probably my favorite set of the 1960s. I just love the design of this. But we'll start with Roy Face. And I will probably get this out as a TTM at some point. It is a bit off center. On the top right there, there's a lot more of the bottom there. But the left to right look pretty good. And it's definitely a crease-free card. The corners are fairly sharp. I mean, there's a little touching on all 4, but I don't mind the condition this is in. And you don't see a whole lot of those little print dots that you sometimes see on cards of this era. So I was happy to get this. And the next card, and I've actually wanted a card of this individual for a while. This guy was a pretty good player. Not a Hall of Famer, but he was a solid player with some pop. But yeah, I would say that this guy, Wally Moon, probably has the greatest unibrow in the history of sports. This guy puts Anthony Davis to shame. But yeah, really happy to get a Wally Moon card into the collection. Just a fantastic unibrow there. I do love the design of this card right here with the pink background right there. Looks really cool. I've tried to win a couple Wally Moon cards over the last year, but he is kind of a common, and his cards go for a little more than, I guess your common should go for. And so I've really, stuck to a price point on his cards, and I believe I paid $1 for this one. So I was like, yeah, that's definitely worth picking up for $1. But I didn't want to spend, $4 and $5 and $6 like some of his cards would go for. It's just, yeah, I can wait. All right, next, I actually tried to win, I think 3 or 4 other cards from this seller from this same set, and the only one that I was able to win was this one, but still happy to get this one. This is a Hall of Famer. I believe this is 1962 Topps. We have John Henry Johnson. And I do love black border sets. And this is probably one of my favorite sets from football from that decade because of the black border. And, when you can find a black border card, you don't see a whole lot of white on the edges, even if the centering's bad. I get pretty excited about that because a lot of them are beat up. And so really happy to get a Hall of Famer from this set in pretty nice condition. I do see a print dot right there on the edge, right there. But otherwise, pretty nice card, nice imagery. It's right here. Great image. And, yeah, a little off center, but still a nice card. All right, so next, this is a non-sport card, but really excited to get this one. It was probably 6 months ago that I actually discovered that there were 2 sets. This is basically a comic book character or a comic character, and I discovered that there were 2 different sets that were created in 1966, and one was basically based off of I guess comic art, and the other one was based off of the TV show. And I sort of identified that I wanted to get this card in particular early on after discovering that set, and finally was able to pick this up for probably much cheaper than I would have actually paid for it. And so really happy to get this. This has definitely become an iconic character in the franchise. And this is, I guess for lack of a better term, this is the rookie card of this individual. Although I believe they have like a few other cards from this set in particular, and they definitely have cards from the TV show set. But this is from the comic book sort of design set. And enough rambling, but this is the Catwoman rookie card, 1966 Topps. So really happy to get this. Big fan of the character Catwoman. And I did like the '66 series with Julie Newmar and Eartha Kitt as Catwomen, or the different Catwoman's characters. But yeah, still I definitely like this card in particular with the sort of the comic book style. So really happy to get this. I don't know if I'm going to get too many other cards from this set. I guess I would probably like the Batman and the Robin cards and maybe a Joker card, but this is definitely not a set that I plan to put together or anything like that. But really happy to at least get this card into the collection because, yeah, just an iconic character in comic books and the franchise for sure. So definitely that might be my favorite pickup of the last, I guess, 2 weeks. All right, so moving on. Now we're moving into the 70s, and I like the sharpness of this card, but it's definitely off center. I didn't have this, but I mean, I guess condition wise, aside from the centering, this is really nice. And this is a black border card, and so anytime you can get a black border card where you don't see a lot of damage on the edges, you kind of get excited about it. So I decided to pick this up. This might end up being like a placeholder for something in the future because it is a little more off center than I do like. But this is the 1971 Topps Raleigh Fingers. And this is pre-mustache. Just a great card. And as you can see, there's very little damage to this card. It's really sharp, but it is really off center as well. But still, I was happy to pick this up, and Didn't pay a whole lot for it, so I'm willing to overlook the centering for everything else that's positive about the card. I'm definitely happy to pick that one up. All right, next, moving on to a couple cards that I picked up from 1972 Topps Baseball. And this one right here is a 1971 NL Pitching Leaders with 3 Hall of Famers on it. Great card, really sharp. Of course, we got Ferguson Jenkins, lefty Steve Carlton, and what did they call him? Boy Scout Tom Seaver on that other card. Yeah, Tom Seaver. And the centering on this one is pretty nice. I definitely love the 72 set. 72 and 75 are probably my favorite sets from the decade. It's a pretty cool card right there. And I actually already have this card, but I love the centering and condition of this card, so I decided to pick it up anyway. This is a 1972 Topps In Action Luis Aparicio. And it looks like it's perfectly centered and super sharp. It almost looks packed fresh. And the one I actually had previously, there's like a couple print dots up here, somewhere around those areas. But this one just looks absolutely amazing. I'm really happy to get this one. This is definitely towards the end of Aparicio's career, but still definitely a cool card to get. All right, next, moving on to 1975, and I thought this card looked like it was in fantastic shape, and so I decided to pick it up. We got the 1975 Topps Jim Palmer, and again, with these colored borders, you usually see like chipping and corner damage, but look at this one. I mean, just a gorgeous example of this card. Now on the back, there's a little of a centering issue, but I mean, it's not horrible. But the front looks really nice. So really happy to get this, and very nice copy of this card. All right, so next, this is a 1975-76 Topps basketball card. Super excited to get this one. This is probably my second favorite pickup of the last 2 weeks. And just an amazing card. And definitely the oldest card of this Hall of Famer I have in my collection. I would certainly like to pick up this guy's rookie card in the future, but, you know, always on a budget. So, you know, I gotta wait for the opportune time to be able to pick it up, but definitely would like to get it in the future. But until then, got a second year card of George the Iceman Gervin. And this card is amazing. Just look at these corners. The centering is just a little off. Not a whole lot of print dots or anything. Back looks nice. Just a gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous example of this card. This card, you know, if it were to get graded, it would probably get, I mean, my guess is I don't think it would get less than a 7. So really happy to get a copy of this card in this good a condition. So yeah, probably my second favorite pickup of the last 2 weeks. All right, last. Well, I guess I still have the stamp set to show, but the last card that I picked up that I'll be showing, this is Junk Wax, but this was always a favorite card of mine, and I no longer had it in my collection, but saw it for, it might have been $2 or something, and decided to pick it up because I definitely wanted this card in my collection again. Big fan of this guy, and you know, he was sort of known for this. But yeah, the fact that they actually have this on a baseball card is really cool. But this is the 1991 score, Bo Breaker. And there you go, seeing him snap that wood. in half like it was nothing, like it was a popsicle stick or something. It just tells you the power that this guy had. I guess you can see the ball being thrown back to the pitcher right there as he turns around and just snap. But what a cool card. And this, of course, follows up the baseball football Bo Jackson that came out in 1990. So I always loved this card. And now it's back in my collection, so definitely happy about that. All right, so moving on to the stamp set that I picked up. This set came out in 1972, and it was put out by Ras Al Khaimah, which is I guess Middle Eastern, and this actually shows baseball players from both the United States and Japan, and the set is titled Baseball Friendship. And so this is sort of the friendship between the United States and Japan as far as baseball is concerned. Of course, they made the tour of Japan. I think it was 1934, and I guess that's where it started. But there are just legendary names on these stamps, and I'm not the biggest stamp collector. In fact, I'm not a stamp collector at all. But occasionally I will find a sports-related stamp that I'm like, I kind of got to get those, or kind of have to get that one. And this is definitely one of them. And I actually made this comment on Aaron Sports Cards and Things, Aloha Friday yesterday. It actually took me 45 minutes to get these stamps in these penny sleeves and then get them top loaded, because I was so concerned of touching these sort of pips or whatever you call them on the edges of the stamps. But I was really happy that I was finally able to do it, and I didn't damage the stamps at all. And yeah, but that's something that I definitely don't want to do again, because that was fairly frustrating. But let's go ahead and get started. Let me make sure I have these in the right order. But yeah, let's go ahead and start with the first one. And this one has probably two of the biggest legends of the sport on it. And this is, of course, Babe Ruth and Sadaharu O. Just a cool looking image. At the time, this came out in 1972, so yeah, I believe Sadaharu O was already the home run leader in Japan, and I guess Babe Ruth was still the home run leader in Major League Baseball as well. So I don't think Aaron broke the record until 74. So yeah, this would have been the two home run leaders. And of course, these are stamped, so there's nothing really to show on the back. All right, next we have Joe DiMaggio and Shigeo Nagashima. And I guess I did mention it, but yeah, Sadaharu O was still an active player when that stamp came out, and same with Shigeo Nagashima, although he was sort of towards the end of his career. So I sort of consider that a playing days Sadaharu O, playing days Shigeo Nagashima. Next we have probably my favorite Japanese pitcher, and I've picked up many of his cards over the past several years. But really happy to see that he was part of this stamp set. Of course, I'm talking about Masaichi Kaneda. And then we have Stan Musial. I mean, they did a fantastic job choosing the players that they decided to represent on these stamps. Next, give me a second, because the font is really small on this. I want to make sure I'm saying this right. Okay, yeah, that is Minoru Murayama. Minoru Murayama and Ted Williams. Yeah, that font is really small. All right, next we have Willie Mays and Futoshi Nakanishi. All right, next, this is another active MPB player when this set came out. We have Roy Campanella and Katsuya Nomura. All right, next we have Ty Cobb and Tetsuharu Kawakami. And the last stamp of the set, we have Lou Gehrig and Eiji Sawamura. All right, so that's the 8 stamp set. I'll go ahead and show them real quick one more time. Got Ruth and O. DiMaggio Nagashima. Kaneda Musial. And we have Williams and Murayama. I believe it's how you say it. We have Mays and Nakanishi. Campanella Nomura. Cobb and Kawakami. And Gehrig and Sawamura. All right, so that's all of my eBay pickups that I'll be showing this week. So the last thing I'll be showing is the 1984 Topps Baseball Starter Set. And I would say that I'm probably halfway through this. And there's probably a few others that I probably need to replace, but otherwise these are in pretty nice shape. So let's go ahead and get started. And as I usually do, I'll show the backs of a few of them and then, the stars. But for the most part, I'm just going to be showing the front, so this isn't too terribly long a video. But we'll start with highlights, Dan Quisenberry. I don't have the first 2 cards of the set, so we're starting with card number 3. And I will show the backs of like highlights and all-stars and stuff like that. All right, next, this is actually card number 6. This is a pretty important card. You got Johnny Bench, Gaylord Perry, and Carl Yastrzemski all retire. And all 3 made it to the Hall of Fame. Next, we have card number 7, Gary Lucas. Now, the biggest card in the set was one that I picked up a couple years ago, so I already had it, so I wasn't worried if it was going to be in the starter set or not. I expected that it wasn't and didn't mind. But it's, of course, the Don Mattingly rookie card. And this is actually the only Mattingly rookie card I have. I don't have the Fleer, and I don't even know how many times I've actually seen the Donruss rookie card in person, but I don't have that either. But that's actually a card that I would love to get because it was such a iconic card growing up, and that set, the 84 Donruss, you just couldn't find it anywhere. And so definitely a card that I would like to pick up at some point, but haven't gotten around to it yet. Shout out to Three Good Nerds on this one because he is the biggest Don Mattingly collector I know. And I know he loves this card right here. Moving on. We got Jim Gott. I do really like the design with the kind of the block letters going down. Got a little picture of the player right there, and then you got a great in action shot usually. Next we have Bert Hooton. Next we have Omar Moreno. Dale Berra. Ray Fontenot. Next we have Greg Lazinski. Pretty nice player. Definitely had some pop. Next, this is one that's going to have to be replaced. It's got, I felt this crease when I picked up the card. Right there. This is a Joe Altobelli. I know there's a few cards like that in here that I just kind of have in here as a placeholder, but I do have it marked on the checklist that I have to replace it. So next we have Glenn Hubbard, and I believe it's his, I want to say it's his 84 Fleer card that has a picture of him with like a boa constrictor around his neck, which I think is a great card. I'd love to get that one day. It certainly isn't an expensive card. I just haven't gotten around to picking it up to this point, but yeah, I always like that card. All right, next we have Frank Viola, and I believe this is his second year. Yeah, I thought his rookie card was 83. And that's actually a set that I don't even have a start to, is the 83 Topps set. You know, I've basically shown I think of, at this point, a starter set for every year from 78 until, you know, here 84, but the one that I don't have is 83. Now, I do have every one of the main rookies. In fact, I think I have the 3 main rookies on my mat somewhere. Yeah, I got Boggs right there, and pretty sure I have Sandberg. Yeah, Sandberg's right there. And I guess I only have Boggs and Sandberg on here. I'm not seeing the other. Oh, there's Tony Gwynn. Yeah, so I do have Boggs, Sandberg, Gwynn. So, yeah. I do have all 3 of the main rookies from the 83 set, but I probably have like 10 common cards from the set. I don't have a whole lot of that, so that's still a starter set that I'd have to get a big start to at some point if I'm going to complete that one. But enough rambling. Let's get back to 84 Topps. Bobby Ramos. Tom Bergmeyer. Next we have Eddie Milner. We are now at an hour. My plan was to show, I guess, the first 250 cards from this starter set, which isn't actually 250 cards. It's probably like closer to like 175 or something. But we'll see. I don't want this to get to an hour and a half, so we'll see where I'm going, and I'll definitely show these cards for a little bit. Next, this is a beater right here with some creasing, but we got the AL batting and pitching leaders for the Rangers, Buddy Bell and Rick Honeycutt. I guess there's the checklist on the back. Next, we have Luis De Leon. Right now, we're at card 38, so moving through fairly quickly. Next, we have Garth Orge. Next, we have the great Dusty Baker, who will be a Hall of Famer one day, I'm sure of it. Great card. Next, we have Tony Bernazard. Johnny Grubb. Jerry Mumphrey. Next, I'm not sure if this is considered his rookie card. I mean, he does have like an 83 card, but I think it's in the traded set, so I'm not sure. But early Julio Franco. Man, I used to try to imitate Julio's batting stance when I was really young. He always had it way high up over his head, and from what I understand, he used a heavy bat. So for him to get around with that sort of pop that he had, just tells you the wrist strength this guy must have had. And he played until he was dang near 50 years old too. Got a lot of respect for this guy's career. Fantastic hitter. Next, we have John Stupper. Chris Chambliss. He had a pretty iconic home run in the World Series. I think it was the World Series. It might have been the ALCS. But yeah, still, he had a pretty iconic home run. Here he is now playing for the Braves. Next, we have Paul Splitorf. I remember specifically that Chambliss home run. He's trying to get around the bases, and fans are running onto the field, and he's just shoving them out of the way, trying to get to home plate. It was a pretty crazy scene. If you saw something like that today, you'd start fearing for your safety, I'm sure. Next, we have Juan Beniquez. Next, we have Jesse Orozco. Next, we have Dave Concepcion. Definitely a guy that I think deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. Next, Gary Allenson. Chris Cotteroli. Not sure if I said that right. Next, we have Dave Hostetler. Next, we have Ed Vandenberg. Next, Mike Scioscia. Next, this is a cool card. Batting and pitching leaders with Jose Cruz and Nolan Ryan. I guess hypothetically you could get this card signed by both, because I think Cruz signs but only charges like $2 or something per autograph. Now Nolan Ryan charges $75, but Both of them, I believe, are willing signers, so it would be kind of cool to get that one signed by both of them if you were willing to pay up $77 to do it. And Cruise might be $5 now. I'm not sure. It's been a while since I looked him up. Next, we have Gary Ward. All right, got another little stack. Leo Hernandez. Bob Forsch. Alfredo Griffin. Next we have Brett Butler. I believe I have this card signed. Oh, I thought I felt a crease. I believe I have this card signed. A nice player. Pretty good TTMer there, Brett Butler. Next we have Billy Martin. Was this his third stint as a Yankees manager? It might have been his fourth. But yeah, you gotta like a guy like Billy Martin. That guy was a baseball lifer. Next you have Doug Bird. Richie Zisk. Lenny Fado. Atlee Hammaker. John Shelby. Next we have Frank Pastor. Mike Smithson. Lloyd Mosby. Bob Nepper. Aurelio Lopez. Royals batting and pitching leaders, Hal McRae, Larry Gura. Craig Lefferts. I am going to butcher this one. Porfirio Altamirano. Porfirio Altamirano. Okay, hopefully that is close. Next we have Ken Oberkfell. Dwayne Murphy. Ken Daly. Tony Armas. Tim Stoddard. Bill Verdon. Tom Niedenfuer. Kelly Paris. Charlie Huff. Butch Weiniger. Britt Burns. Now these look like they're league leader cards. We have the 83 home run leaders, Mike Schmidt, Jim Rice. Two Hall of Famers. Looks like Schmidt at 40, Rice at 39. Next, we have the 83 RBI leaders. Got Dale Murphy, Do It for Dale. In the National League. In the American League, we had Cecil Cooper and Jim Rice. Murphy had 121. And Cooper and Jim Rice had 126. Next, we have the 83 stolen base leaders. Got Tim Raines, Ricky Henderson. Pair of Hall of Famers. Tim Raines had 90. Ricky Henderson had 108. Next, we have the strikeout leaders. Steve Carlton on the left, Jack Morris on the right. Both of them do TTMs as well. So you could potentially get this card signed by both. Next, we have the 83 ERA leaders. We have Atlee Hammaker and Rick Honeycutt. Two players I guess you wouldn't expect to see. I think Rick Honeycutt might have been traded in the middle of this season, but he still finished with the lowest ERA, but I might be wrong. Next, we have the 83 leading firemen. Got Al Holland and Dan Quisenberry. And back then, they had the point system. Next, this one has a couple creases in it, so I'll have to replace this, but Pat Corrales. See some creasing almost all the way around the Indians logo. And there's another one through the C. Next we have Jose Morales. So this is actually card 143, so I think we'll be able to get through the 250 no problem. Next we have Brian Harper. Hopefully you're enjoying seeing this set. Next we have John Matlack. Steve Trout. Glenn Brummer. Next we have Dick Tidrow. Stash. That's a pretty epic stash right there. Next we have Frank White. This one's going to have to be replaced. This actually looks like it was the victim of a binder. This is a Gary Gaetti. You can see right here, there's like a notch in it right here, almost where like a 3-ring binder would have like pushed into it and damaged it. And this is exactly why I don't like using binders, because you end up with stuff like that. This is a second-year Gary Gaetti too. Next we have John Curtis. Mario Soto. All right, give me 1 second. All right, there we go. All right, next we have Bob Ojeda. Lorenzo Gray. Jamie Nelson. Marshall Edwards, Larry Parrish, Jerry Royce, Frank DePino, Marvell Wynn. This one will have to be replaced. Juan Berenguer. There's like crease right down here. Next we have Greg Nettles, Bill Kruger, Buck Martinez, Roy Thomas. Next we have the other big rookie from this set. And boy, this guy early in his career was fun to watch. He really was. And still had a really nice career, but yeah, this is definitely one of the players that was affected by drugs for a large part of his career. But I'm talking about Darryl Strawberry. It's like I have ingrained in my head, you know, when he would play at Shea Stadium and he'd come up to bat and you had all the crowd, Darryl, Darryl. I mean, that's how big he was. Yeah, he was a fantastic player in the 80s, man. And this was definitely a card that you had to have in your collection. So now he does have an 83 Topps Traded, which I don't have, but would definitely like to pick that up at some point one day. One of the many cards on my sort of want lists. Next we have Al Williams. Next we have Mike O'Berry. Sixto Lescano. Cardinals batting and pitching leaders, Lonnie Smith, John Stupor, Luis Aponte, Mike Boddicker, Nick Asaski, Darrell Brown, Domingo Ramos, Bill Doran, Willie Guillermo Hernandez, former Cy Young winner, Matt Keogh. This one looks like it's got a minor crease, and actually two minor creases in it, but Bobby Meacham. There are a couple creases right there. We'll have to replace that one. Next we have Greg Minton. Big fan of this guy, Andy Van Slyke. I'm not sure if this is his rookie or not. I'm going to say he had an 83 card, but I might be wrong. This might be his rookie card. But still, really nice player. Next we have Donnie Moore. Jose Oquendo. Manny Sarmiento. Bruce Hurst. Paul Householder. Alan Ashby. Rick Waits. Joe Simpson. Yeah, here's the Rick Honeycutt. Yeah, I was right. Okay, so we got Rick Honeycutt, who's now with the Dodgers. Now, he actually won the ERA title. But the Rangers traded him to the Dodgers in the middle of '83. So he finished his finished his season in the National League, but still made enough appearances to qualify for the ERA title in the American League. So pretty cool. Next we have Sid Monge. Steve Braun. Paul Owens. Gary Woods. Just a few more cards, maybe, I don't know, 15 left to go. Next we have Tim Wallach. He was a pretty good player for a while. Made a couple all-star teams. Next is the first checklist I've seen. I always love getting checklists. Next we have Rafael Ramirez with a really nice wax stain, which, as I've said before, I don't mind a wax stain here and there in a set that I'm trying to complete. I don't want them on every card, but just 1 or 2 or 10 or whatever. I don't really mind because there's a little nostalgia to seeing a wax stain for me. Next we have Matt Young. John Costino. Reed Nichols. Jay Howell. Billy Allman. I think this might be a Candy Maldonado rookie. Pretty good player. Yeah, I'm not sure. He made several appearances before this, but I thought '84 was his rookie year. I might be wrong. Next we have Rick Sutcliffe. And the last card I'll be showing this week is Bill Madlock. And boy, does he deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. He was an amazing hitter. At this point, his batting average is .317 for his career through, looks like a 10-year career with .317 batting average. I mean, he was an amazing, amazing hitter. And for whatever reason, he's not in the Hall of Fame. Oh, that's fairly miscut on the back, isn't it? Pretty nice on the front, though. Anyway, that takes us through the first 250 cards of the 1984 Top Starter set. So I probably have 2 more groupings of that to go through over the next couple weeks, and then we'll move on to the 1985 Top Starter set. That'll finish off the starter sets that I have. But hopefully you enjoyed this one, Spine Ticks After Party. I appreciate everybody that showed up to check out the premiere, everybody that's catching the rewind. I really appreciate you taking the time to check out the channel and check out the video. And once again, I'd like to thank 23 Munch and Titus for the amazing artwork. And I would like to thank Chance for the absolutely amazing care package that he sent, with just some fantastic cards. And until next week, thanks for watching the video, and I'll talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.